Hello. Okay, so someone asked me about twin flame signs in Synastry and Astrology, and there's not a cookie cutter answer. There's not, Mars trine Venus, Sun conjunct Moon, have that, you're good to go. There's not a cookie cutter answer of what makes a twin flame couple appear in astrology. So I thought it would probably be a good idea to talk about it here and bring it here to a more conversational platform. So I want to open with, if you are looking for signs you have met your twin flame, this is not a cookie cutter sign. There are many, many, many signs. And when I first met my twin flame and I was so in doubt of who I met and was this real, am I going crazy, all those things, I was tearing apart so many sources looking for signs to be like, yes, that's the one. And I never found it. And the reason why is because part of that twin flame relationship is having faith in yourself and having faith and belief in what you're feeling. And if you're not tuned into what you're feeling, if you're not sure yourself, how the hell are you going to find a sign out in the world saying, yep, you know what, that is your twin flame? So the signs are going to show up in the chart after you feel good. If you want some confirmation, I've been feeling these things and I want some confirmation out in the world to prove that I'm right, that is fine. But if you don't feel at least some kind of validation inside of you before you go out and look for these signs, you're going to be kind of disappointed. You're not going to find what you're looking for. So on top of that as well, the signs I'm saying here, you could have that internal validation, but not relate to the signs I'm finding here because you have different signs that kind of resonate with you. This is just one perspective of what you can find in the birth charts of twin flames. There are going to be thousands and thousands of interpretations, and truly at the heart of it, you know when you know. So one thing I find really, really common in twin flame charts and couples is there's a degree of similarity, but it's spun in a polar way. So what I mean by that is, if you think about the twin flame connection, it is you and it is them. They are the polar to you, but you're of the same essence. So you're going to want to look for that mimicked in the charts. So one twin flame couple I really work with, they are both Gemini suns. So they have that same element. They're both Gemini, but one is a Pisces rising, the other is a Virgo rising. So Pisces and Virgo are the sister signs. They're on the same axis, but they're polar. So we have that oppositional effect. One of them, the Virgo rising, is very analytical and very work-oriented and very detail-oriented in the way she presents herself into the world. She has a Pisces 7th house, her DC, so when it comes to relationships, she's much more spiritual and doesn't always have concrete signs and evidence of what's going on. So sometimes she doesn't really know what's going on. She has to really sift through and feel things out. Versus her twin flame, she has Pisces rising. So when it comes to herself, her being, she has to sift and feel herself out. But her DC, her descendant, her 7th house is Virgo. So when it comes to her relationship, she's very much logical. This is what it is. This is what it's not. Bam, bam, we're done. So you have that polar element. And to take it even further, the Gemini rising, or the Gemini with the Virgo rising, has a Pisces moon. And the Gemini with the Pisces rising has a Virgo moon. So they have the polar approaches to emotions as well, which I think is really, really cool. So that's kind of one way twin flames can show up. So you can have some planets on polar axes. So if you have Virgo, they have Pisces, Sagittarius, Gemini, Libra, Aries. That kind of energy can represent some twin flame energy. But also having the key elements that resonate with you in your chart will be mimicked in their chart. So if you are someone who has a strong Sun-Pluto aspect, look to see if they have a strong Pluto element in their chart. So it could be that you do really, really well. Like you do really well. You have Sun and Pluto conjunct and you're at home in Pluto energy. but they might have Sun square Pluto. They might not feel at home in or Pluto energy. So it's something that they have to work with, but something very intense for you. Or you could both have square Sun Pluto energy. There's different variations of that. If you have a very strong Chiron placement and resonate extremely well with your Chiron, you might find that they have a Chiron in a similar placement. So there's going to be those energies of similarities that you're going to find, the same potential, the same depth, the same possibilities, I think, in variation of energy. You're going to find just patterns of like, oh, that's so interesting. You might have like your sun ruler might be Mars. It may be your sun's Aries, and they have their Mars in Aries. And then their sun might be Taurus, so their sun ruler is Venus, and you might have Venus in Taurus. So you might have some flips like that. And there's tons of variations. There's tons and tons and tons. This is just one type of way to find twin flames in your charts. There are also plenty of asteroids to look for. My favorite is Osiris and Isis, who Osiris was kind of blown in some chunks, and Isis put him back together, and they're kind of representing like the twin flame union, the divine feminine, divine masculine. So you might have them in positive places, significant places. You might have the asteroid for their name in a significant place. Your north nodes might be in significant places. So another chart that I know of that has of a twin flame relationship, the man has his moon in Scorpio, and he has his north node in Sagittarius. The woman has her moon in Sagittarius and her north node in Scorpio. So the moon kind of shows you what you're familiar with. The north node kind of shows you what you're not familiar with, what you have to grow towards. So where one twin flame is very familiar with one energy, to the Sagittarius moon, she's really familiar with expanding, learning, being optimistic, that big picture energy. But she's unfamiliar with Scorpio, intimacy, heaviness, dealing with that heavy and regenerating energy. She can turn to the twin flame, who is really familiar with that Scorpio energy because he's a Scorpio moon. So he's been through loss, he's been through intenseness, but he's also very, very familiar with having very close bonds with people. So she can kind of use that energy to kind of help spur her Scorpio north node journey. And when he struggles to be optimistic, because he has gone through all that heaviness, when he struggles to see the big picture and to kind of look to the optimism in life, she can help, because that's a natural thing for her. So you will see kind of patterns like that where one energy kind of needs something, the other energy has it. But at the same time too, if you don't have that relationship with yourself, that twin flame energy is not going to be there. So you have to have your cup full before you can attract what you want more of. If your cup's not full, you're going to reject that. So that Scorpio north node person, if they don't spend time dealing with their depression, dealing with their pain, their hurt, and if that Sagittarius north node does not spend time being optimistic, being happy, there is nothing they can do for each other to help change things. And usually it's the feminine who is trying to change the masculine and look for the masculine to save them. So the masculine is going to run away. This is the runner chaser idea, which I try not to stick with that theme too much because it can kind of be limiting to assign those labels. But the energy is kind of repelling, pushing away. That energy is going to be pushing away because the energy that's seeking it doesn't have it within. They're running away from their own within journey. So if that's you, if you feel like your twin flame, oh, they could help me so much with this, they have this energy that I need help with, my north node is their sun sign, they would be so good to help me. Stop, make that north node energy yourself, and then you'll attract them back into your life. Because a lot of times people who are looking up twin flames, it's because there is some tension, things are not going well, and if you want to know how to fix it, always, always, always fill your cup up with what you're looking for, and then you'll attract them in. Now, also, so you're going to have some of those patterns, the connections. You might have, Venus square Venus or Venus trine Mars. And it can go either way. It can be positive aspects, negative aspects. usually you do have some kind of aspect, but you don't always. And if you don't always have an aspect, say they have a Cancer Mars, you might have Mars in the 4th house, or Mars in the 10th house, which is the opposite energy of that Cancer 4th house moon energy. Or it might be Mars conjunct Saturn. So look for sames and opposites. Same and opposite. So the same ruler, the same house, the same sign. Those are all the same energies, so it doesn't have to be the exact same sign. It can be the house variation or the planetary variation of that sign. Look for oppositions, but it doesn't have to be the exact opposition. Just look for the planet variation of the opposition, so Moon, Saturn, or 4th house, 10th house, or Cancer, Capricorn. You don't have to have the exact same, but look for those connections. And then lastly, if you look at your twin flame chart and because you and your twin flame are the same exact soul, same being, just different bodies, different lives, different stories, different everything leading up to the point you're at now, but you're the same essence. If you were to be born in the shoes of your twin flame, you would be exactly what they are. So if you're struggling with your twin flame right now and you need to have some sympathy, this will help. Put yourself in their shoes. You would literally be what they are being if you were born in their shoes. So if they are struggling to awaken, or if they are struggling to carry their weight, because that's a lot of times, I'm doing the work, but my twin flame's not. Well, that's because they grew up in a world unlike yours where it's harder for them to do the work. So keep in mind that if you were to put yourself in their shoes, they would, and you would be the same thing. But what that means for your birth chart is you can kind of feel that birth chart out, and it can feel like a second chart for yourself. It's not you, but you can feel it and be like, you know what? I see how looking at this chart and interpreting it as if it were mine can help benefit me, can help learn more about me. And if that is the case, if you can feel that energy, then it's a very strong connection that you guys are together. Now, I really hope that helps. If you have any more questions or you want to throw out ideas for the next video, please leave a comment. If you want to work with me, I'll leave all the information down in the description. Please like, share, and follow, and I will talk to you guys later.